Wholeness and balanced love, everybody. Grand day to you. It is Marcus, and I also go by Christolight. And just a little bit about myself before I kick off this live about the subconscious brain rewiring and reprogramming Zoom flowshop that I will be holding on Zoom coming up on the 21st of this month. To kick off our 2024, I figured I would offer you guys with a free donation-based subconscious brain rewiring flowshop where we'll be doing journaling as well as group conscious community reflection. And along with that, we will be integrating the journaling with a guided meditation that I will guide for us. And this will be a 2-hour space. I will get more into that here in a moment. And I'll also be briefly touching on a project that I am launching now as well that you can sign up today with, which is a 7-week 7-chakra journey. And this is a full realignment and conscious relationship development with each of your 7 chakras in the 7-chakra system, starting at the root chakra all the way up to the crown. And this will be a 7-week program or journey, whichever you prefer to call it. That'll be taking place on Zoom calls. And along with that, you also have recordings available. So if you're someone that has a pretty tight schedule, but you really want to be dedicated to this type of journey, you can still be a part of that with getting emailed the recordings of each session. So a little bit about myself before I go fully in depth about these 2 new co-creations that I'm bringing forward to the public. A little bit about myself is, number 1, my name is Marcus, and I also go by Christolight. Christolight is a name that came to me from my higher self, intuitively through guidance, and it came around, I would say roughly 2018, 2019, and well, I'll say maybe 2020 actually, 2020, let's say. And before that, I was always referenced as Marco. A lot of people called me Marco back in the kind of style of life that I used to live, which was being in the streets. I was selling substances, and I was also heavily in addiction as well. I was selling, psychedelic plant medicines, weed, and some other festival type substances as well, like Molly and MDMA. And long story short, I ended up getting set up by the police, and I sold to an undercover, and I went to prison for about a year. And when I was in prison, I taught 7 to 8 different inmates meditation, as well as the 7-chakra system. And there's actually going to be a testimony from one of them coming up in my bio documentary that I'm about to edit and produce of myself and that part of my journey. So besides all that, a little bit about myself is Christolight came to me through higher guidance, and it was kind of like an intuitive name that came through when I was going through a major down part of my life, let's say. And this really came to the surface during this period back in 2021. Well, 2022 actually. 2022. The name really came back to the surface, and it was time for me to really embrace the name. And the name, more than anything, was really about the energy, the signature of what the name means, Christolight. And when you break that down, it's Christ, O light. So, Christ, O light, that just means, being a Christ of light. So that came to me intuitively. That wasn't something I just sat there and was like, oh, I'm gonna start writing down some nicknames for myself. That's not how that process happened. So with that also came a lot of shadow work, a lot of serious looking at myself, and without looking, also having compassion and unconditional love for myself as well as a human being and the soul journey that I'm on. That being said, around 2014, 2015 is when I began learning Reiki, as well as going to yoga and meeting yoga teachers, and also being with Reiki masters, and also embracing meditation and learning about the chakras. So with this, I had a really good friend of mine who was already a Reiki master. He was already into shamanic healing and other things like that. And I was hanging out with him like almost every day. He lived roughly about maybe 15, 20 minutes from me growing up here in Ohio. And we were just hanging out about every day. So I was picking up on a lot of the practices and stuff. And with that, I took it into my own hands and was doing it in my own space. And this was also during the time when I was selling the plant medicines and stuff. So this is simultaneous, my spiritual awakening while I was doing the street life. So time went on, and then I went into prison in 2017. That was when I had taught meditation to about 7 to 8 inmates, as well as the 7 chakra system. And before I went in there, I'd actually been practicing guided meditations with my friends, as well as some others on Zoom calls. And I was also practicing Reiki with my good brother that I was hanging out with about every day. And I was also getting in tune with the 7 chakras and doing breath work as well. Definitely add breath work in there, like Wim Hof breathing, as well as some other shamanic breath work techniques. So I just kind of started going into this initiation journey about 2014, and it's just been expanding ever since. And, we're here now, 2024, 10 years later. So 2017, I went into prison for about a year. I taught those inmates the meditation, as well as the chakra, as well as in there. And with that being said, it really gave me the upgrade, the activation, the newfound conscious awareness of who I truly was, and the gifts that I had when it came to serving the collective. So to kind of rewind a little bit before 2017, around 2015, 2016, I received a Reiki healing session from a good brother of mine here in Ohio. And when I was receiving the session, I was laying down, and through my mind's eye, out in the blackness of the closed eyes, all of a sudden, this humanoid lion figure comes into my third eye perception. And I'm not even a very clairvoyant person. And I'll be honest with you about my psychic abilities. I am a medium. I'm able to do automatic writing. I discovered that when I was actually locked up and I was sitting on my rack. I just read a book about a psychic medium who had a radio show. And after I read the book, something intuitively was telling me that, maybe I could possibly do this. And welcome in, everybody, by the way. Welcome, Casey, Ocean, Hytherian, Dragon Brother. Good seeing you. I'm just kind of explaining a little bit about my background, a little bit about my story, and some of the dark and trials of my life that got me to who I am, to figure out the power I have within me and these gifts to share. So after that, I'm going to be talking about 2 spaces I have coming up. And the first one is a subconscious brain rewiring workshop that I'll be holding free on Zoom. It's going to be donation based. It'll be on the 21st, and I'll talk about that here in a moment. And then I'll also be talking about a 7-week, 7 chakra journey that I'm about to allow everybody to sign up on if they would like. And that'll be a 7-week journey going through each of the 7 chakras. And I'll touch on that as well after I transition out of this intro. So I had got into prison 2017 for trafficking, and it was just to be fully transparent with all of you guys, it was LSD. I sold LSD to an undercover here in Ohio, and it's really interesting how we can land ourselves in the position of going to prison and not even really generally be like a bad intended person. And it could be simply as being aligned with addiction and substance abuse, to where you find it reasonable to start, trafficking substances. And it's a very real path that we can easily get ourselves onto. And I'm a prime example of it, and what I can overcome and be afterwards. So, 2017, I went in and I taught those inmates, about 7 to 8 of them, guided meditations and the 7 chakras. We'd go out to the baseball field, or the softball field, out by the rec yard, and we'd sit in the grass, and I would guide us through 7 chakra meditations. It was life-changing for sure. So, with that being said, I was also just really like a conscious beacon in there. You know, you go into an environment like that, and when I say environment, I'm talking about, prison. And you go in there, you're not going to really find many that are focused on their spirituality, focused on the chakras, focused on how to be conscious about their communication, things like that. So, for that to happen, there was nobody else around that I knew in that whole entire facility or camp to be teaching people meditation and just like going out and doing it. So it was really very life-changing for me to do something like that. And after I had done that, I had this like newfound relationship within myself of the spiritual energy I was connected to, or however you'd like to describe it, source, God, Christ within. And once that happened, there was no going back. So, by the time I was able to get out, which was a couple days before Thanksgiving, 2017, I was honestly so at peace inside of myself because of the type of relationship I was establishing with people in there on a very pure, positive level, that when I was able to go, part of me was actually feeling grounded to wanting to stay there and continue to do what I was doing in there. That's how at peace inside me I was, due to these practices that I'm sharing with all of you guys as services to this day. And this is the core, the roots, and the soil behind why I share these practices that I practice with you today. I used to be a very ungrounded person. I used to be very impulsive. I used to be very angry very quickly. Like, not angry as in just like, like hate the world and like angry all the time. Just like very short-tempered, or like very low tolerance if someone had to ask me a question like 3 times, that type of stuff would like kind of irritate me very easily and get me angry. So like over time, these practices really started grounding that and really dissolving it to where it's no longer existent in my being. And that's what these practices have been able to do for me in my life, which is why I practice them with you guys to this day. Free, donation-based, $20, $30, whatever it may be. You'll find a wide variety from me. And I'm going to be talking about a donation-based space coming up, as well as a price program that will be coming up. Just to give you guys the balance, so you guys can always see for yourself what my energy is like, and the reasons behind, and the type of results that you can experience through my practices with you guys. Experience is everything to me. We can think about something as much as we would like. We could have the knowledge about it. We could feel something as much as we would like. But if we are not actually integrating and fully embodying whatever the information is, the codes are, then to me, we're not actually giving ourselves the whole benefit and the whole experience of what this information is that we're trying to acquire. So that's me. And when I got out in the end of 2017, and welcome in everybody, welcome in King Chains. Man, when I got out at the end of 2017 of prison, I had just found this new relationship with my inner self and just all that is. And nothing was going to ever change that. I was just like, it was crazy. I literally did not want to get out when it was time for me to leave. because of how grounded at peace I was within myself, because of what I was doing in there. It's amazing. So with that being said, I got out and I was just so inspired and naturally inspired. Not inspired as in like the external inspired me, so then it rubbed off after a while. No, it was like my internal flame was lit and my solar plexus became super activated, because if I could teach about 7 to 8 different prison inmates meditation as well as their 7 chakras effortlessly in an environment like that, where that's really like kind of looked at as a little weird, a little feminine, especially for that type of environment. But go out to the softball field during rec, go out in the grass and meditate. And it was life changing. It gave me a spark of realizing my gift, my purpose, and why I am here. So I got out in 2017, before Thanksgiving. And with that being said, I created Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. And that is just like my brand, my identity, if you want to say, when it comes to providing what I provide for you guys. So I created Sacred Light in 2018. And then with that, I also became Reiki certified in 2018. And since then, I've been attuned to 3 different forms of Reiki. The first being the traditional Japanese, which is the Usui Raiho. I've also been attuned to the ancient Egyptian, named after the great goddess and mother Sekhmet, the lioness, and that's called Sekhem. That's the second Reiki form I am attuned to. And then my third Reiki attunement has been to the Ascended Masters techniques. So I have all 3 of these nicely blending in my Reiki energetic field around me at all times, and whenever I go into service. So with that being said, I'm also a Crystal Healing certified member as well, CHH, Crystal Healing Certification, and I got that in 2018 as well. So I'm able to teach you and connect you with the crystals that you need for bringing balance as well as restoration and healing to the different aspects of your being, whether it's mentally, physically, or emotionally. So that is something that I offer too in my services, is Crystal Healing 101. And with that, I also can educate you on crystal grids and crystal formations throughout your home, your workspace, or anywhere that you can think of. And with that, I have been doing guided meditations for roughly 7 to 8 years now. I have done them with friends, I have done them at events, I've done them at festivals, I've done them at retreats, I have done them online, on lives, I have done them on here on Instagram Live, I've done them on Zoom calls, and I have professionally produced and edited guided meditations for my own self on my YouTube channel, Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. And you guys can subscribe there. And I have guided meditations. I have about three now, of my own edited and produced online TV shows that are educational and holistic based. And I also have a podcast as well, Sacred Light Conversations. So these are all on my YouTube channel, Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. And you just hit the playlist and it's all organized for you. And then you can also hit podcast to find Sacred Light Conversations. And I also appreciate all of you guys that are here, that are showing support, showing love, and those that have continued to sow the love and support in my YouTube, on these lives, and everywhere else I create content for all of you. Really appreciate all of you. And I also sense, with the Reiki certification, the crystal healing, the experiences of the guided meditations, I've also acquired light language activation abilities, and I also do intuitive life guidance, which is helping with shadow work integration, looking at your daily life, looking at ways to create new patterns, habits, and routines for your being, as well as boundaries and healthy conscious communication. Along with that, I do customizable guided meditations that you guys can customize for your own self and have sent to you over in an MP3 audio to have at any moment, any time for yourself. And with that being said, you can customize it in the ways of the type of frequency that you use in the background, whether it's 432, 528, angelic frequency, shamanic drumming, Pleiadian, whatever you may think of, singing bowls. You can choose the frequency as well as choose the intention, the focus. You can also choose the type of guides or spiritual beings that you'd like to connect with. And it's completely open to how you like when it comes to that. I'm not someone that has a personal preference when it comes to spiritual guides or higher beings, God, whatever you may say. I'm open to all, and I'm willing to connect with anything that resonates for my being, whether it be Yeshua, Christ consciousness, white light, Mother Mary, or it could be Kuan Yin, it could be inner earth beings, it can be the elements, Archangel Michael, Anubis, Thoth, Horus, whatever you may think of, I can connect you with through a guided meditation along with the frequency. And then also you get to choose the time and space as well. So it could be like the Egyptian pyramids, it could be Atlantis, it could be the Pleiades, whatever you feel resonant. All right, so that's a little bit about myself. Mark is Christolight. And now I'm going to go ahead and slide on over into giving you guys the insight into this upcoming flowshop I have on Zoom, and then the 7 chakra 7-week program. So coming up on the 21st of this month, I will be having a free donation-based Zoom flow shop, and I'm going to emphasize that again. It's going to be a free donation-based flow shop, and it's going to be on Zoom, and it's going to be a meditation space, and it's going to be for subconscious brain rewiring, as well as being able to reprogram the subconscious. And with that being said, what this flow shop is going to look like, it's going to be 2 hours, and it's going to be based on subconscious brain rewiring. We're going to be doing journaling together in a GOT group, conscious community space, and with that, we will be doing some journaling on any subconscious patterns or looping thoughts or anything else in our subconscious that we are currently struggling on or can identify and bring forth to the surface. So I'll go in depth more about what examples of this look like, as well as what this can look like when it comes to the metaphysics and the physical of the subconscious. With that being said, we will be going through the lesson and then reflecting through journaling upon any that we can acknowledge that are currently present in our being. And then we will journal them out to bring them to the surface. And when we bring them to the surface, we then are able to bring them out of the mental. And when we bring it out to the mental body, we then bring it into the physical body. And with that, there will be space for us to be able to reflect together and share what we journal if we wish, as well as receive support from conscious community if we wish to. And then after that, we will then take the journaling reflection and integrate it into a guided meditation that I will facilitate for us. And when we get into this guided meditation, we will consciously bring in the intention of the journaling and the reflection that we had took upon for our subconscious brain rewiring. And then I will utilize a more likely third eye frequency, as the third eye is the main chakra for our belief patterns as well as perception. So I'll guide us through a meditation to help go through rewiring as well as reprogramming the subconscious, integrating the lesson that we had journaled. And that will be our 2 hours when it comes to this space. And I just want to remind you guys that this will be a free donation-based space held on Zoom. And you guys can just direct message me for any information regarding the boundaries, the codes, and receiving the Zoom link. And that'll be on the 21st once again, and it'll be from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. And then after that, we will then be navigating in February, beginning on the 12th. We will be navigating into a 7-week, 7-chakra journey. And this is a 7-chakra alignment journey that I'm offering. And this one will be priced because it's a 7-week journey, full in depth. There will be 3 meetings a week for all 7 weeks. And it'll be on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Each one very intentionally made out. And we will go through one chakra for 1 week for 7 weeks. So it'll be starting at the root chakra and going all the way up to the crown. So the first week will be going over the root chakra. Second week will be the sacral. The third will be the solar plexus. The fourth will be the heart. The fifth will be the throat. The sixth will be the third eye. And the seventh will be the crown. So in these 7 weeks, you will have the opportunity to be educated fully in depth about each of the 7 chakras, the frequency, the color, the characteristics, the manifestations that it brings into our human life when it comes to overactivations or having blockages in that chakra. And then I'll give you strategies and tools in your everyday life that you can consciously utilize in your own power to be able to rebalance, recalibrate, and clear each of the 7 chakras as we go through them each week. And then along with this, on the Saturday, the final meeting of each week, I'll have some crystals for you guys to be able to choose from as a gift to you for completing your new relationship with your 7 chakras. So for instance, after the first 3 meetings, which will be the Saturday of the first week with the root chakra, I'll have a few of different stones for the root chakra that you guys will be able to choose from for yourself as a gift that I will then send out to you for completing your new relationship with that chakra. So you'll end up with 7 crystals by the end of the 7 weeks. Along with this, you'll also get a PDF sent to you covering all of the details of each of the 7 chakras as we go through them each week. And then you guys will also be receiving affirmation audios. So I'll be making MP3 professional quality affirmation audios that I will be guiding. and you also receive those the day of the first meeting each week. So then you guys will get those sent after the first meeting of each week, and you guys will be able to use those affirmation audios throughout the week until we meet up for the next chakra at the end. So that will be a 7-week, 7-chakra journey to help bring realignment to your being. And I just want to briefly touch on the parallel connection of the 7 chakras and ooh, maybe some light language. Utata mata shikite ukupatana utiana taya usiyatatiana ushukia tayana tsuata itiabaya kotianata ususatiana makochiate usatata shianaka. Ooh. Okay. So that will be a 7-week, 7-chakra journey, and that will be beginning on February the 12th, and that'll be 7 weeks from there. And the pricing for this will be either $88 for 1 week or $444 for all 7 weeks. And you guys that are just tapping in, you can watch this replay if you would like, and you'll be able to hear all the details about the 7-chakra, 7-week journey that you'll be paying the price for. Alright, so that really does it for me today on this live. I know typically my lives are more of like my shows or a practice or something about education, but I just want to come on to give you guys the insight behind the subconscious brain rewiring free flowshop I have coming up on Zoom the 21st, as well as the 7-week, 7-chakra journey that I will be hosting and having you guys available to on February the 12th for 7 weeks. So also, you guys in this live, you guys can also check out a little bit about my backstory, a little bit about who I am, and the journey that I've had, my ups and the downs, the shadows, the darkness, the positive times as well. In this live, you'll be able to hear that, tap in, and learn a little bit about myself and why I am who I am, as in Marcus, and I also go by Christolight, and why I go by Christolight. It's been a journey for me, that's for sure, and I'm really grateful for it all, really am. If it wasn't for the highs and the lows, the ins and the outs, the light and the dark, I wouldn't be as whole and well-rounded as I am when it comes to just the tolerance for the life that we have and being able to really understand why we can transform, why we can empower ourselves, and why we can overcome the things that we struggle with, like addiction, as well as, being impulsive and other things. A lot of these practices that I practice with you and offer my services and the things that I talk about in my shows, they've been really life-altering for me, and they've really transformed my being into being who I am today. Without the practices, without the conscious usage of plant medicine, I don't know who I would be. And I'm here today just to be a living testimony for you guys that you guys can empower yourself through these practices, through these conscious ways of living. And that's who I am. Grateful to be here with all of you. Just direct message me if you have any questions regarding any of these services or any of the flow shops that are coming up. Thank you guys. Have a beautiful night. Wholeness and balanced love.